And what's going on, everybody, and welcome to this next lesson. I'm so excited because today we are going to be building out that lead magnet. Now, before we get to building out the lead magnet, let me just kind of give you a revision of the previous video, right? I kind of explained to you guys how we used our own email database and our relationship with our customer base to then blow up Starbucks opening day, right? All we did was market to our email database that have a relationship with us, and they became customers at Starbucks, right? I showed you how vital and how important it is for you and your business to own a list that you own, that you don't have to pay Facebook, don't pay Instagram, don't pay anybody. It's basically your database. Now, the question that we want to know is, how do we create this lead magnet? Now, what is a lead magnet again? It is the thing that we create, we give away for free in exchange for getting customers into the business, right? We're giving it away for free. We're not expecting anything else from the customer except their contact information. But the question is, how do we create a valuable email or valuable lead magnet that people actually will consume, will want, and will use, okay? Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, number one. It doesn't have to have the best content, number two. But it really needs to have your passion and your experience and your process to this, right? So if you're scared right now, don't be scared. You're going to go dive right into it and you're going to create value for your customer base. Remember, it is your responsibility to add value to your marketplace, right? Number two, it's going to be so easy because I'm going to walk you through the structure of how you actually say or speak inside of this lead magnet, right? What do you actually say to people? Like when people consuming your content, when they download the gift and they're reading this ebook or they're watching this money course, what do you actually say that gets people interested even more in your product and even more in your service, and wants to know you, wants to get a relationship with you, and wants to take the next steps with you, okay? So how many of you guys want that, right? You want your customer to build a relationship connection with you, then you've got to have the right structure when you're doing this lead magnet. So I'm going to share with you what you say in this money cost ebook or whatever it is that you're giving away to your customers. Okay, you guys ready? All right, let's get into it, okay? So the structure we use is pretty simple. And it's a structure like this. It looks like this, right? So right at the top is you, and you're holding on this nutritious platter, right? This amazing lead magnet that you are using to attract your potential customer. Okay, this potential customer doesn't have the result that you have. You've already obtained the result. Now, if you haven't obtained the result yourself, then you shouldn't be selling that product or teaching that process. Okay, so make sure that you yourself have already obtained that result. Okay, now you're going to share with them what are the steps that you took at some point to get to that result. Now, this is you here. You've achieved the result. This is the flag. You've completed something, but there's still somebody who's been down there that has not yet received the same result that you have in your life. Now, you're going to help that customer, kind of like giving them that step by step. It's kind of like you went ahead of them, right? You've achieved this thing, and now you're going back and you're saying, hey guys, like, here's what you have to do to get this result. Okay, so for some of you guys, let's say you're an accountant, right? And your result that you've achieved is saving on taxes every year when you are submitting your taxes, right? And so you managed to save hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rands, and now there's somebody who's starting off in business or your potential customer that doesn't know how to do that. So you're going to go down and share with this person 6 things or 5 things or 3 things that you did to obtain this result of paying less to SARS ethically, right? So maybe the lead magnet is how to save your taxes ethically every financial year, okay? Then you go down below and you check, okay, step number 1, right? You submit early. Step number 2, you correct your accounts, your books, and all these kind of things. Step number 3, whatever the steps are as an accountant, you can do that. Maybe you are a skincare business and you show to people how you can, get brighter, beautiful skin, and you sell products, right? And maybe the lead magnet you're creating is 6 ways on how you can have brighter, glowing, beautiful skin. And the 6 ways can be: step number 1, wash your face daily. Step number 2, make sure you wash twice a day. Step number 3, make sure you do this. Step number 4, make sure you do that, right? It's these steps that you did that helped you have, beautiful, glowing skin, right? Or maybe you sell these health products that help people have vitality in their life. So you can share with them 5 or 6 things that you did to have vitality in your life. Step number 1, right? Step number 1, I drink lots of water. Step number 2, right? I exercise. Step number 3, I change my diet. Step number 4, I change my mentality, my mindset, right? Step number 5, like all these things that you do to obtain this vitality in your life, okay? All you're doing is you're giving people the step-by-step process that they need to get the result that you have. So be very specific about the lead magnet. Just as I have been specific about my lead magnets, you too have to be specific about what is that thing that you want to give people right now in exchange for their contact information, and then they're going to consume that 5 or 6 steps that's going to help them obtain some sort of result in their life. Does that make sense? The moment they get some money result inside of what you're teaching, that's the moment they sell themselves on wanting to do business with you long term. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm super excited. All right, so what does this framework look like? How do you create the 6 steps? Okay, now first things first is write down those 6 steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It could be 8, could be 9, whatever it is. It just depends on your business and what you're selling. Okay, so write those 5 or 6 steps down. Firstly, obviously, create the headline. What are you giving away? Okay, if you don't know what the headline is, what you're giving away, think about around your business, right? If you are in the insurance company, think about 5 things that you can do to find the perfect insurance, right? If you're in the whatever business, just go around and even Google it, research it. Look at what other people are already giving away in your industry. Look at what YouTube videos are around your industry because that's what people are consuming, right? And then create your very own 5 or 6 step thing that you can use to give to people. Okay, so create the headline and then create the 5 or 6 things. Okay, write that down. Okay, now that you've got that down, the question is, how do you actually share this with people where people will be interested in consuming it? Now again, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to be perfect, but you're going to have to follow the structure that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so here's the structure. So when I explain anything I'm doing, when I'm teaching any framework, when I'm showing you guys anything, I follow these 4 steps. Okay, step number 1, I share my learn to earn story. Step number 2 is I share the strategy. Step number 3 is I then get to the tactics and the hows and how to do it. And then step number 4 is I then share a case study. Okay, so this is how I create any framework, and this is how you're going to create your lead magnet or your ebook or your course or whatever it is that you're going to be giving away. Okay, so step number 1 is share your learn to earn story. Now, why is it so important to share the story? Okay, and let me explain to you this. And when I teach any concept, I remember when I teach step-by-step strategies that can change your life. Okay, and I look at people and people will be like not consuming the content. Their heads are down, they're looking aside, they're not interested. Like I'm like, why are these people not consuming this amazing content? Because this can literally change their life. And I realized that the reason they weren't consuming it is because I wasn't sharing my story. Okay, the moment I started sharing my story of how I learned, I struggled, I went through the process, and I earned this thing, then people are like, oh my gosh, now they want to listen to everything I say because they see how I've got there, right? Think about my conferences, think about my seminars, think about my talks, anything I'm doing, right? I'm sharing my story of how I didn't have money, I didn't have stuff, and how I got here, right? And I'm sharing my story of how I didn't have this and I got that, right? Every time I'm sharing this learn to earn story before I teach you the tactics and the strategies and whatever it is. Because if you don't believe in what I'm saying, it's going to be very hard for people to consume your content. Now the same thing happened to you. You've got to get people to believe by sharing the story. Now let me give you some examples. What are some of the learn to earn stories I can tell you? Okay, number 1, we use the accountant as example, and his lead magnet was how to save on taxes for financial year end, right? 6 steps you can do this. Now he can share a story that sounds like this, right? So many years ago, when I very first started in business, I had no idea how to save on taxes. In fact, I lost hundreds of thousands of rands submitting incorrect taxes, giving the wrong amounts, and I realized something that, my gosh, I could have saved so much of money that I could have invested into my business. And then what I found out later on, that a little few tweaks that I could make after helping so many people, helping myself, if I made these tweaks, I could save so much money. And so I created 6 steps on how you can save on taxes. I did it for myself, and now I want to give it to you guys. Boom. That's your learn to earn story. Now people want to listen like, oh my gosh, you lost so much of money. Now you're saving so much money. I want to learn about this. Okay. Let's give you another example. Maybe the business you're in is in skincare, the glowing skin. You're helping people have glowing, brighter skin. Okay. So then you share this kind of story. Like, for example, hey, many years ago, I had poor skin. I was dark. It was different complex. I remember one day I walked into this party and I was the most darkest person there with all sorts of shades in my face, and I wasn't feeling so good about myself. And I remember going back to my computer, I realized I needed to do something. I went to my computer, I started typing out how to improve brighter skin. So I tried 3 things, it didn't work. I tried these products, it didn't work. I tried that. And then I found these 4 or 5 things that literally changed everything. In fact, I had brighter, beautiful skin. And now everywhere I go, never a day in my life, I don't have brighter and beautiful skin. And now I'm going to share with you those 6 things I did so that you can do the same thing. Boom, I shared my learn to earn story. So think about it in your industry. What is your learn to earn story surrounding those 6 or 7 or 8 steps that you're going to teach people in this lead magnet? Okay, think about that learn to earn story. Okay, number 2, once you share that story, I want you to think about the strategy. What is the strategy, right? Now, this is not the tactics. This is not the hows, the to-dos, that what you have to do. This is just the overarching strategy. Think of it like, if you're in the military, right? Like in the military, if I were to coordinate a battle, right, I would definitely obviously put people in different positions, and then I'll share with them what the strategy is, right? Maybe the people are going to come in and we're going to attack them from this end, and then we're going to come this side and we're going to attack them from that end, and someone's going to be at the top. But if I don't share the strategy, people don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. They don't know why they're waiting in the bushes or why somebody's waiting on top of the roof. What is their purpose? So what is the strategy? I'm sharing the 6 things, the 7 things, the things I've learned, the strategy, but I'm not telling them how. Okay? 1 and 2 is the learn to earn story, then the strategy. Number 3 is then after sharing the overarching strategy, what am I teaching them? Okay? I'm going to share with them the tactics. Okay, what is the tactic? The tactics now is the actual how-tos, right? Step number 1, you fight it this way, you do it that way, you play this, you play this, you play that, you do that, you do this, right? That's the actual tactics, the actual step-by-step stuff, the little things that they have to do, okay? And then step number 4 is then I share a case study, and the case study is like, okay, it's not only helped me, but it's helped so and this person also did that, okay? So I'm super excited. Now let me give you some examples one more time, right? Like the accounting company, okay? I shared with you my learner on story. Now I'm gonna share with you the strategy. Okay, the strategy I learned was 6 things. The strategy is called vet returns, or whatever it is, right? The vet returns, like how to actually somebody the correct way to get the maximum amount of money, and then how to use your accounts. Okay, then I'm sure there's tactics. Tactics is you got to go to your books like this, and you got to then submit these kind of payments here, do these kind of payments there, blah 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 blah, right? Whatever the accountants do, you guys share those tactics. Okay, step number 4 is I did this for so and so business, and this is how they saved on their taxes. Boom. Those are the 4 things you need to do. Okay, you don't have to be too long. You just have to explain these 4 things. Okay, let me give you one more example, and that's the glowing skin lady, right? So she said in beautiful skin, she shared a story of how she learned to earn it. She shared, now she's going to share a strategy. Now, what is the strategy? The strategy is this. Okay, the strategy you got to use is called the the wash every day strategy. I don't know, right? Wash every day strategy. This is a strategy where I use this kind of strategy. Okay, it works like this. It's where people actually wash their face more than once, and then it alleviates those dirt from actually accumulating. Now, I'm just making up this stuff, right, to be honest. But as a skincare person, you'd know exactly what that strategy is, right? Then you show the tactics. The tactics is you don't wash like this, you wash like that, right? You don't wash in up and down movements, you wash in circular movements, right? You see what I'm doing? I'm sharing now the hows in the inner details, right? And then step number 4 is that I'm going to share the case study. What is whoever helped in the past or helped in this process get to this result? You guys see what I'm talking about? That's how you create your your framework. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is think about what are these 4 things, and I want you guys to go right now and actually start writing out the 4 things in your business. Okay, so think about it. Write your learn to earn story, write your strategy, write your tactics, and write your case study. Now, if you want any more examples, you can always come to the classes, chat with us, try to figure it out. But I want you guys to go right now and actually start writing these things down, actually creating them. Okay, so open up your workbook, go to module number 2, go to your first funnel. You see lesson number 1 here. It's called the lead magnet, and answer these questions. What are the examples of lead magnets you've seen other people use? And pick the one that you're going to be doing, right? Then go and write your story, your learn to earn story, okay? Then go ahead and write those tactics, those steps by steps that people have to take, and then what strategy it is, right? And then question number 4 is then draw a case study, write a case study of somebody you've helped in the past and how they've used the strategy to then obtain the results that you were talking about in your lead magnet here, okay? So go ahead, get going with this, write these things down, and we will discuss them in the lesson. So take care, everybody, and I will see you guys soon.